Celtic got the job done on Saturday against St Mirren, but Chris Boyd has put his finger on something that could be a real turning point in this title race. We've also got a massive contract debate brewing around one of the standout performers this season, a worrying injury update on a Celtic loanee in Germany, and a fascinating story involving Dyson Maeda turning up in Birmingham. Let's get into it. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Celtic ground out a 1-0 win over St Mirren on Saturday and kept themselves right in the hunt at the top of the table, but it was far from a comfortable afternoon at Celtic Park. Chris Boyd has pointed out something that many fans will have missed in all the tension of the result. It was not pretty. Celtic struggled to control the game for long periods, wasted a number of chances to put the tie to bed, and the crowd was getting restless as a backs-against-the-wall performance started to develop. But they held on, they kept the clean sheet, and they took the 3 points. And that clean sheet is exactly what Boyd is highlighting. It was Celtic's first in 9 Premiership games. 9 games. That is a run that tells a story in itself about how vulnerable they have been at the back this season. Nearly every time Celtic have been forced to find a winner or survive a late spell of pressure, they have been conceding as well. Breaking that habit, even in an ugly win, could be significant. Speaking on Sky Sports, Boyd said, "When you speak about Celtic, that's the first clean sheet in 9 Premiership games. That could be a big thing because they have been losing goals. Even last week at Dundee, they then had to find a way to come back to get the 3 points. It wasn't pretty. I don't think either team had a shot on goal. That's one thing we've been used to, Celtic in control, and it's not happening." Boyd is right that it was not the Celtic of old in terms of controlling matches, but he is also right that a 1-0 win with a clean sheet, grinding and gritty as it was, could be exactly the kind of result that builds momentum going into the most important fortnight of the season. Celtic now face St Mirren again at Hampton in the Scottish Cup semi-final before the league run-in resumes. Every 3 points from here is gold. Now for the main story, as Oxlade-Chamberlain has given Celtic every reason to trigger the extension clause in his contract, and Football Insider are reporting the club would be making a serious mistake if they let him walk at the end of the season. The former Liverpool midfielder joined Celtic back in February on a deal running to the end of the season with a 1-year extension option built in. His arrival was met with a mixed reaction from supporters who questioned whether a 32-year-old who had barely played in years could contribute at this level. He has answered those questions on the pitch. Against St Mirren on Saturday, Oxlade-Chamberlain scored the only goal of the game and was Celtic's best performer by some distance. He completed 16 of 17 passes at a 94% accuracy rate, created more chances than anyone else on the pitch, won 60% of his duels, and was energetic alongside Callum McGregor throughout. That is a complete midfield performance from a player who was without a club just a few months ago. It is now 2 goals in his Celtic career, and both have been match winners that directly earned the team 3 points. In a title race this tight, that kind of direct contribution is priceless. He said after the game, "We are not going to lie down." It is short and simple, but it captures the mood around the squad exactly. Former Aberdeen chief executive Keith Wyness had raised serious question marks over his fitness when he first signed, given he had reached 20 league appearances just once in 5 years before arriving in Glasgow. Those concerns have faded quickly. Football Insider's verdict is clear. The evidence is there. Celtic need to trigger that extension and keep him for next season. He has not just contributed in results, he has shown the kind of leadership and quality that a rebuilding club needs around it heading into a summer overhaul. In other news, Anthony Ralston has spoken openly about the stress that the win over St Mirren created, admitting that Celtic's inability to kill off games is becoming a real problem that needs to be addressed. The right-back was in the starting lineup for Saturday's match and acknowledged after the game that Celtic had more than enough opportunities to put things beyond doubt, but failed to take them. Kelechi Iheanacho had a clear chance to make it 2 in the second half. It did not go in. That left Celtic clinging on, and the atmosphere inside Celtic Park became increasingly anxious. Speaking to the Monday morning press, Ralston said, "It would have been nice if we could have killed the game off against St Mirren as we had a few front post chances. Then we had Kelechi Iheanacho's chance in the second half, which could have finished the game off, but it's something we need to look at. We need to look at how we can finish off games more. We understand that not getting that second goal causes a stress factor within the game. If you get that second goal, then it takes a lot of that pressure away from you. As a whole, we are happy with the win, and we will take that forward. Ralston also acknowledged the broader positive, pointing to the resilience the squad showed to hold on and see it out. Winning 1-0 this late in the season is not a disaster, but the pattern of not closing games out has cost Celtic points earlier in the campaign, and that simply cannot continue. The margin for error in the remaining fixtures is 0. Every chance to go 2-0 up needs to be taken. Against better opposition than St Mirren, failing to do that will hurt. In other news, Darren Mackie turned up in Birmingham over the weekend for a very personal reason, but the visit has thrown a fresh spotlight on just how far his own form has dropped this season. Just 24 hours after playing his part in Celtic's win over St Mirren, Maeda made the trip to watch former teammate Tomoki Iwata in action as Birmingham beat Wrexham 2-0 in the Championship. The two players formed a close bond during their time together at Celtic, and Maeda clearly wanted to show his support during the international break window. It was a genuine and warm gesture, but it also brought some uncomfortable comparisons into view. Kyogo Furuhashi, another familiar name, is also at Birmingham this season, having joined from Rennes. His time there has been a real disappointment. Minutes have been limited, he has struggled to get into the team, and the move has simply not worked out. Celtic tried to bring him back in January, and he chose to stay. That decision has not paid off for him. For Maeda himself, the numbers are a concern. He has not scored or assisted in 13 consecutive games for Celtic. That is a staggering run for a player who was one of the most dangerous and direct attackers in the country under Brendan Rodgers last season. The pace and the energy are still there at times, but the end product has completely dried up. Celtic head into the Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampden this weekend, needing Maeda to rediscover something close to his best. Lastly, Celtic loanee Mike Naroki has suffered yet another injury setback in Germany, and the situation around his future is becoming increasingly complicated. The Polish defender was forced off after 55 minutes during Hannover 96's 2-0 win away to Darmstadt in the German second division on Saturday. Hannover's victory was a big one in their promotion push, moving them up to third place, but Naroki's early exit took the shine off the result. The change was confirmed as injury-related, with reports in Germany noting it was a fresh physical problem that forced him out. This is not the first time. Naroki had already dealt with tendinitis earlier in the season and a separate muscular issue back in December. There is now a genuine pattern of injury disruption building up around him, and that is a real concern for everyone involved. It is particularly frustrating because the spell at Hanover had shown real promise before these setbacks. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.